Welcome back to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit, where we break down the biggest developments in the world of horsepower, headlines, and high-stakes politics. Today, we're shifting gears from pure engine talk to a fierce international face-off that could rattle the entire automotive supply chain. Since March 27, 2025, a trade feud has been revving up between two global giants, the United States and Germany. It started with a jolt, President Trump's sweeping 25% tariffs on imported cars, and now Germany's dropping the clutch in response. This isn't just about politics, it's about pistons, profits, and powertrains. Let's dig into the top developments. Number 1. Tariff turbulence hits the German engine room. Germany's auto sector isn't just big, it's a national engine of growth. Think BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and Volkswagen, brands that flood American roads and pump over $35 billion into the US import economy. But that engine coughed hard on March 27th when President Trump slapped a blanket 25% tariff on all imported cars and parts. Until then, Germany had kept its diplomatic cool, even amid prior steel and aluminum tariffs. But this latest move hit too close to the drivetrain. Chancellor Olaf Scholz didn't mince words, calling the tariffs wrong and warning that they'd lead both nations down a road of mutual economic wreckage. Finance Minister Jörg Kukis followed up by saying that nothing is off the table. This wasn't just about dollars, it was symbolic. Targeting German automobiles is like trying to unplug the Nürburgring. It's not going to go over quietly, and it didn't. France immediately backed Germany, and EU leaders started aligning behind a more assertive tone. Germany made it clear, this wasn't just business, it was personal. But Germany wasn't about to go it alone. What followed next was a full-throttle shift in Europe's approach to diplomacy. Number 2. Europe's retaliation, from calm negotiations to coordinated resistance. Usually, Germany is the calm in the storm, a quiet negotiator in trade talks, but not this time. Berlin made a dramatic pivot, swapping cooperative rhetoric for strategic countermeasures. German officials floated the idea of retaliatory tariffs not just on US cars, but also on agriculture, electronics, and digital services. The European Commission quickly joined the chorus. President Ursula von der Leyen called Trump's move damaging to business and devastating for consumers. And suddenly, the EU wasn't just watching, it was working up a counterpunch. France, Italy, and Spain jumped in too, supporting Germany's call for economic pushback. Brussels began sketching out reciprocal tariffs that could limit access for US companies, from soybean exports to Silicon Valley platforms. And it wasn't just political noise. On the ground in Germany, people rallied. Workers in Stuttgart and Wolfsburg marched in protest. Labor unions spoke up. Executives from automakers lobbied hard for government backing. This wasn't a backroom negotiation anymore. It was a transatlantic showdown playing out in factories, boardrooms, and the streets. Even Canada was dragged into the conversation. When Trump labeled them the 51st state, Chancellor Scholz clapped back, affirming Canada's sovereignty and uniting allies across the Atlantic. Germany wasn't standing alone. It was leading an economic convoy. With the political landscape shifting, let's look at how the actual industry is feeling the heat under the hood. Before we delve deeper, do us a favor and smash that like and subscribe button. This helps us reach more auto enthusiasts just like you. Now, let's shift gears and steer towards our next point. Number 3. Industry impact, the supply chain slam and market shakeup. Here's where the rubber really meets the road. According to the Center for Automotive Research, these new tariffs could spike US car prices by thousands. That's bad news for German automakers who rely on US buyers, and worse news for American consumers who want precision German engineering without the markup. With $35 billion in German auto exports to the US now under threat, automakers like BMW and Audi are facing a tight corner. Sales started to dip just days after the announcement. Suppliers on both sides, German and American, are feeling the squeeze, halting investments, and pausing production due to sheer uncertainty. And this isn't just a car problem. Germany's industrial core also includes chemical exports, AI technologies, and precision manufacturing. If the EU widens its retaliation, industries from pharmaceuticals to fintech could get caught in the blast radius. At home, automakers are divided. Companies want the government to stand firm, but not so firm it backfires. Calls for strategic retaliation are growing, but so are concerns about long-term consequences. Could some automakers shift production to the US just to dodge tariffs? Possibly, but at what cost? And while the auto sector tries to steer through this storm, Germany and its allies are already targeting new battlegrounds. Number 4. Beyond the garage, when tech, farming, and alliances collide. What began as an auto industry scuffle has now shifted into high gear, threatening sectors far beyond four wheels and fuel injectors. Germany and the European Union are reviving talks around digital taxation, specifically targeting American behemoths like Amazon, Meta, and Google. These proposals, previously stalled due to US pressure, are now being used as leverage. If Washington wants to pressure Berlin's factories, Brussels might just return fire at Silicon Valley. And that's not all. New proposals include slashing quotas for US agriculture exports, tightening restrictions on American airlines, and limiting tech platform operations across Europe. That's right, a full-spectrum economic playbook is being drafted. France and Italy, true to form, are in the front row, backing a wider retaliation plan. President Macron has been especially vocal, framing it as a necessary counterbalance to US economic aggression. Meanwhile, north of the border, Canada, also caught in Trump's tariff trap, is weighing its own economic countermeasures. If Berlin, Brussels, and Ottawa align, the US could find itself boxed in by a triple threat of auto, tech, and agriculture pushback. But retaliation isn't being driven by politicians alone. It's also coming from the factory floor. Number 5. From the factory floor to the Bundestag, pressure builds. This isn't just a government chess match, it's personal for thousands of German workers. Across Munich, Stuttgart, and Hamburg, assembly lines are slowing, and factory floors are echoing with concern. Unions that once treaded carefully in international disputes are now leading the charge, demanding strong and swift retaliation. The public sentiment? Germany shouldn't just tighten its belt, it should tighten its grip. The political response has followed suit. From the Greens to the Christian Democrats, lawmakers are ditching the diplomatic filter. Headlines blare with phrases like "We won't bow to Washington" and "Berlin fights back." The country's political tone now reflects what its people are feeling: defiance. Yet in the boardrooms of BMW, Audi, and Mercedes, caution still rules. Execs are urging the government not to torch decades of investment and cross-Atlantic collaboration. Restructuring supply chains or shifting production to the US would be a costly long game, but even they admit something has to give. And now, with the pressure mounting from all sides, the global trade engine is racing toward a critical crossroads. Final verdict: a trade war with no brake pedal. So here we are, one tariff, one domino, and now a global trade showdown. Germany's response has shifted from defensive to decisive. The European Union has lined up in solidarity, and Canada is revving its own engine. This isn't just about car parts, it's about power plays, international credibility, and economic identity. As the US and Germany stare each other down, the stakes go far beyond vehicle exports. This might reshape how the world responds to economic aggression. Will Trump double down or lift his foot off the gas? Before we wrap, Piston Pundit wants to hear from you. Do you think Germany's retaliation strategy is bold or risky? Will this trade war harm US consumers more than it hurts European exporters? Could this push German automakers to build more vehicles in America or shift to other global markets? Are we seeing the decline of the post-1-2 transatlantic trade alliance? And finally, how should automakers adapt to protect their future amid geopolitical instability? Drop your thoughts, insights, or even your hot takes in the comments. We love hearing from fellow gearheads and global thinkers alike. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss your next update from your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit. Thanks for watching and see you next time. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.